in the Yoga Sutras, there's a part where they talk about the withdrawal of the senses. And one way that I've read to think about that is that rather than being bombarded by information from the outside, that is really a rebalancing, a shifting of awareness so that we can feel a little more richly from the inside and soften a little bit that connection towards the outside world so that we can be working on creating a balance, a space to be more connected, more alive from the inside out. So as you let yourself come to rest, as you connect to your breath, let that be not just a shift in focus, but in some ways a quieting of those connections pulling you outwards into the world so that you can allow all of that awareness and attention to filter inwards. And as you let your breath flow in and flow out, notice how it's softening, letting go of what you're carrying that allows an easier, deeper, more connected flow of your breath. So if you can find the place where you feel your breath flow in and flow out, letting that movement reach down towards your fingers, out towards your toes. Let it pulsating through the whole fabric of your body. Give yourself a couple more breaths here. And use those breaths to connect in any way that feels right to you today. Maybe that's the way you've been breathing, just focusing on the inhale and the exhale. Maybe that's exploring the different planes of the body, breathing into the front plane, breathing into the sides, the back, whatever it might be that feels right in this moment. Give yourself another 5 to 10 breaths here, just exploring how your breath is moving you in a way that lets your mind be really conscious, connected, and alive in the experience of your body. Give yourself at least another 4 or 5 breaths here, letting your breath be rich and full as it travels through the fabric of your body. When you feel ready, starting to build on that pulsation of inhale and exhale. As you breathe in, let the front body lengthen. Let your pelvis rock towards your toes. And pausing in this gentle arch, gently press down with sitting bones at the bottom line of the pelvis until you feel consciously the contraction in the muscles in the back. Hold that for a moment here, continuing to breathe so that your mind knows where it's going to release the tension from. And then slowly start to let go of that contraction, coming down in as many tiny little steps as you can until you've let go completely from the back body. As you're ready, following an exhale, rock your pelvis towards the top of your head. Let the low back press down, let your sitting bones curl up, feel your chest move. Again, pause here. Breathe the back body long, and gently press your low back down until you can consciously feel where are you holding this shape from. And then come down in as many tiny little steps as you can, letting go little by little by little by little from the front body as you come back out. Before we take another cycle, take a moment just to pause and to reflect. When you arched your back, where did you feel the contraction? If you felt it anywhere other than in the back plane of the body, on this next cycle, we're trying to release from those other places. We're going to start by taking an inhale breath where we don't move into the arch, but where we send the breath towards any place in the front body where you might have been feeling contraction as you arched. If there weren't any, we're just going to send your breath into the front body. So take a moment to breathe in. Release through the front body. Let it expand. and then let your breath go. And then with your next cycle, come into your arch. Again, breathe into those spaces in the front body. See if you can let go more actively in the front body to let the back contract without opposition in the front body. Pause as you find the arch. Again, gently hold that contraction. And then very, very slowly, and taking as many little steps as you can coming down, come all the way back to zero effort. Taking a moment to think about what it felt like to round the back. Again, take a moment to feel into any places that it might have felt didn't release as you rounded your back. And again, just as you did before, breathe into those spaces wherever they might be. Let the back expand here without trying actively to round it. And then slowly let that go. And then when you're ready, start to more actively round your back. Draw the low back down. Feel the front body close. Breathe the back body long, especially any places that feel like they might resist when you round your back. And then slowly let go. So we're going to follow that process for a couple more cycles. Again, first breathing into the front body, releasing it, and then moving into the arch. So following your own pace here. Breathe the front body long. See if you can feel releasing, lengthening, broadening through all the spaces in the front body. And then ease back out. And then as you're ready, make the arching more conscious. So you breathe the front body long, start to contract the muscles along the spine. Let that draw your back into an arch by shortening the back plane, feeling the shoulders move, letting go through the whole space of the front body line. And then coming out little by little by little by little by letting go from the back. Again, breathing first into the back body, letting it lengthen. And releasing that fullness as you're ready. And then focusing on consciously closing through the front body on your next exhale. Can you feel the front body shorten from your pubic bone to your chest? Can you feel how your shoulders curl up? How maybe your knees draw together, letting the back body lengthen? And then very, very slowly let that go. Give yourself one more cycle with this double pattern, breathing first and then moving. Moving into the front body with your breath. And then after you've let that breath go, focusing on contracting the muscles of the back. See if you can start to initiate that movement from the muscles of the back body, letting your breath support, release, and ease through the front body as the back body engages. And then no help or contraction in the front body here as you come back down. Gently lower yourself down by letting go. And one more time, breathing first into the back. Let the whole back line broaden with your breath. And then let that go. And as you're ready, of course, moving more actively, see if you can close the front body line. Feel the back get long here. Where do you need to contract from in the front body to let the whole back lengthen? And then slowly come back down. And as you come back to zero, pause and rest. Bringing a little focus down into the hips and the side body, let the knees stay pointing up towards the sky. And we'll focus first just on the left leg. Right knee is going to stay pointing up. The left knee is going to sway towards the right. So as you're ready, start to let the left knee lean over towards the right big toe. Focus on letting go through the left side so that your left knee starts to reach forward of the right shin. Get as if it was going to touch the big toe. Pausing when you start to feel just the beginning of a stretch. And then lift the leg back up again. We'll try that action a couple of times, just bringing awareness first into that side body plane. Left knee starts to slowly lower. The hips are going to rock here so that the left hip rises up. And then releasing through that left side, let the left hip travel away from the left shoulder to let the knee come forward of the shin. And then slowly draw the leg back up. Pausing at the end of the next cycle, we're going to add in that idea of breathing into the space that we're releasing first. So when you're ready, take a breath where you invite the left side to lengthen. Breathe that space open on the inhale, noticing how it feels to let go, and then soften your breath back out. And then as you're ready, start to lean that left knee over towards the right. And as you feel the need to breathe in, breathe that left side long. And then with your exhale, slowly lift the leg back up again. One more time here, pausing as the knee comes back up. Take an inhale, lengthen through the left side. And let that go. And then letting the leg move a little more actively. Let that left side lengthen as you lower the weight of the knee over towards the right. Again, breathing that left side long. And then bring that left knee back up as you're ready. And as you come back to center, as both hips rest down onto the mat, notice the difference between the left side and the right side. And then bringing that attention over into the right. Again, we'll take 2 cycles just awakening that side space of the body. So when you're ready, let the hips rock towards the left. Right hip is going to rise up, and the right knee is going to move towards the left big toe. About letting go through the right side of the body to allow the shin and knee to come forward of the left leg. And then slowly lift back up. Give yourself one more cycle, just like this. Releasing from the right side, slowly lower the weight of the leg over towards the left. And it come towards the big toe. And then slowly lift it back up. And then adding in that extra breath, focusing on releasing with the breathing. As you inhale, breathe that right side long. Notice where you might need to let go from to allow the side body to expand. And then, of course, soften the breath back out. And then releasing from those same places. As you're ready, start to rock the hips, start to sway that right knee over towards the left. Again, as you breathe in, breathe that side long. See if you can release from all of the spaces in the right side. And then slowly lift the leg back up. One more time, just like that. And breathe first. Inhale the right side long. Softening, releasing into the side body. And then let your breath back out. Come back to neutral. And as you're ready, as you inhale, letting the legs sway a little bit more actively, lowering it slowly over towards the left, breathing the right side long. And then lift the leg back up again. And as you come back to center, you can give yourself a moment to pause and to rest. Now that we've brought a little movement to the front, the back, and the sides, I thought we'd spend a little time focusing on the shoulders today as part of our somatics practice. But when you're ready, reach your arms up towards the sky. The hands are going to be stacked about over your shoulders. And imagine that coming down right over the center of your chest was a rope or something to climb. And when you're ready, start to reach up with your right arm as if you were going to catch a hold of that rope. Go nice and slow here. And as you reach, pause with the arm extended. See if you can feel how the muscles that hold the arm up are in the chest and the belly. Breathe into your back here. See if you can feel the upper back broaden to allow the arm to reach forward. And then to lower the shoulder down, let go from your chest. Little by little by little by little, let the weight of the shoulder come back down to the mat or as close to the mat as it can, not forcing it back. And then we'll try the same thing on the left. When you're ready, reach up with the left arm. See if you can reach up enough that you start to feel the right shoulder move down towards the ground. And again, pausing here, feel how the contraction that holds your arm up is in the chest. Release through your back. Breathe space across the upper back. And then keeping the upper back soft, slowly lower that left shoulder back and down towards the mat. So we'll go back and forth here. So you're ready, reach up with the right arm. Again, see if you can let go from your back as you close through your chest, maybe pausing for a breath if that helps for you. And then releasing from the front body, from the belly, from the chest, from the inner arm, maybe even all the way down into the top of the thighs. The shoulder come back to the mat. Moving up with the left arm. Again, feel how the back rounds here to extend your arms. See if you can soften and let go to allow the front body the space to move easily. And then release from the front body to come back down. We'll go one more time to each side here. Notice how there's a dance of releasing, creating ease, and contracting, creating support and steadiness. And then rather than engaging with the back body to lower the shoulder down, let go little by little from the front body to ease back out so that both sides of the body are soft. One more time on the left, if you haven't already. Again, allowing the back to round, feeling the front body contract, and then letting the back body stay soft as you let go of that contraction from the front body. Coming all the way back to rest. And let your arms come down here for a moment, just resting to the floor. So we'll take a second cycle and we'll add in some connection for the feet down into the mat. And what that's going to do is it's going to lift the hip up a little bit. So let's try just the feet before we add in the arms. When you're ready, press your right foot straight down into the mat. And as you press it down, you should feel your right hip, particularly the sharp, pointy corner that makes up the front edge of the pelvis, lift up away from the mat. And then as you let go, let the hip come back down. And try the same thing on the left. See if you can press the left foot straight down into the mat until you feel the hip rise up. There's a rocking happening here across the back of the pelvis. And then slowly let that go. Give yourself one or two more cycles here, just playing with the actions of the legs. See if you can start to feel how pressing the foot down into the floor moves the pelvis, the back, and the belly. And then let go to let the hip come back down. Give yourself one more cycle to the left. And then soften back up. Now we'll put that action together with the reaching of the arms. So as you're ready, the arms rise back up. Now, as we press down with the right foot, it's going to help us reach the right arm up a little bit more fully. So when you're ready, press the right foot down. It's going to lift the right hip up. And as you reach up with the arm, let pressing the foot down help you feel like you're reaching the arm a little further. You should feel maybe even a little more rounding in the back. And then very slowly let that go. Think about lowering the hip and the shoulder back down to the mat. And try the left when you're ready. Press down into the left foot. Again, as the left hip rises up, reach the left arm up. And then slowly lower down. We'll go back and forth a couple times. You'll notice that this movement walks your upper body away from your feet. So at any point you need to adjust the position of your feet. You can always walk them closer if you feel like you're no longer able to press your foot straight down into the mat. We'll take a couple of cycles, just going slowly, easily back and forth. See if you can feel how the front body closes as you press the foot and reach, and how the back body lengthens. And then let go from the front body, letting it get equally long as you come back down. Give yourself one more cycle to each side here. Reaching up on the right, and then softening back down. And reaching up on the left. And of course, letting go from the front body to come all the way back to rest. And as you're ready, again, let the arms come down into the support of the floor and take a moment or two just to breathe. So we're going to take two more movement patterns for the shoulders. The next is going to focus on rolling the arms on the floor. So with the arms out in line with the shoulders, we'll start with the left arm first. When you're ready, start to turn the left palm down towards the floor and focus on the whole arm rotating. It's easy to rotate the lower arm in the hand. It's much more difficult to turn the upper arm. See if you can turn the upper arm and then keep rolling a little further until your shoulder curls up away from the mat. Should feel a similar type of contraction through the chest. Different muscles, but in the front body rather than the back body. And then slowly let go, letting the shoulder come down, letting the arm spiral back out again. And then rolling that same arm in the other direction. Again, see if you can turn both the upper and the lower arm. And then keep turning. That's going to hug your shoulder blade underneath you. You'll feel your back muscles contract and let go through the front body. and then release from the back body, letting the arm re-lengthen again. So we'll go back and forth a couple of times. Let the palm turn down, rolling your arm in that direction. Feel how the arm gets shorter, how it curls in as the shoulder rises up. And then let go from the chest and the belly and the inner arm, letting it spiral back out long. Reversing that direction, and see if you can turn the upper and lower arm. Feel the shoulder blade hug underneath you and move down through the back body. And then release. Let the arm and the back get long again. Give yourself one more cycle in each direction here, focusing on the left arm. Rolling the arm up. And then releasing it back out. And of course, reversing. Letting the shoulder blade glide down the back body as the upper arm rotates. And then letting that go. Take a moment just to rest. Again, notice how things feel now on the left side compared to the right. And then when you're ready, we'll take that same movement with the right arm. So again, starting by rolling the palm down and letting both the upper and lower arm rotate. See if you can turn the upper arm bone. Let that pick up the shoulder. Let the shoulder round forward. You'll feel your chin reach up towards the sky, back broaden. And then slowly let that go. And rotating the arm in the opposite direction. Again, see if you can turn the upper and lower arm. You'll start to feel the shoulder press back and hug underneath you, feeling the shoulder blade glide down your back. And then slowly release. Let the arm re-lengthen, let the back broaden. So we'll take another 2 or so cycles here with the right arm. Again, see if you can turn both the lower and upper parts of the arm, feeling the inner arm, the chest, the belly contract, letting your back round, let go in the back body. And then come out slow. See if your mind can be in control, both contracting and releasing that contraction. Rotating the arm in the opposite direction, the shoulder will hug underneath you and move down through the back body. See if you can feel the outer arm contract. And then slowly let that go. Give yourself one more cycle here on the right. And see if you can connect from the inner arm to the chest, down towards the center of the body. And then slowly release. And of course, as you rotate in the other direction, outer arm to the back of the shoulder, down in towards the low back. And then let that line lengthen again as you soften back out. And again, as you finish, give yourself a moment just to pause and to rest. We're going to take one final movement pattern for the shoulders. And for this one, we're going to roll ourselves over to lay face down. So as you turn yourself over, we're going to bring our elbows underneath our shoulders with our chest just a little bit lifted. So it's going to be kind of like a Sphinx pose, only our goal isn't a back bend where we're really lifting our chest up, but to feel the movement of the shoulder blades on the ribs. So let your chest soften down and let your head and neck be in a comfortable position. Elbows will be about underneath the shoulders. So the action we're going to play with is pressing the elbows on the forearms straight down into the mat. So as you start to press your elbows down, you should feel your shoulder blades pull apart and your ribs lift up a little bit. And then as you release, let your shoulder blades glide towards one another and let your ribs soften back down. So we're going to try that action a couple of times. Press down with the elbows and the forearms. See if you can pull the shoulder blades apart by engaging at the sides of the ribs rather than forcing up with your belly. And then as you let go, again, let go from the sides of the rib cage. This is a muscle that connects from the underside of the shoulder blades around to the ribs. We'll try that one more time. Press the forearms down. See if you can connect in that side rib space to pull the shoulder blades apart and the ribs up. And then slowly let that go, sinking back down. We'll try a couple more lines working in this same way. When you're ready, take your elbows forward a little bit. So now they'll be in front of the shoulders. And rather than pushing straight down, we're going to push forward with our elbows. And that's going to take the shoulder blades up the back a little bit. So when you're ready, start to push forward with your elbows and feel your shoulder blades draw up towards your ears. And then as you let them go, let them glide back down. And you'll feel your chest come down a little bit as you let go, lift up a little bit as you engage. So we'll try that a couple of times. Press forward with the elbows. Should feel your chest lift up a little bit and your shoulder blades rise up the back. And then slowly release, feeling the shoulder blades move on the back body. Give yourself at least one, maybe two more cycles, whatever feels like the right pace for you. Again, press forward with the elbows. Feel what engages as you do that. And then slowly let that go. As you're ready, we'll walk the elbows a little further back towards the hips. In this third line, we'll reach the elbows towards the hips and I'll take the shoulder blades down the back a little bit. So when you're ready, reach your elbows towards your heels. Feel how that moves the shoulder blades down the back. And then very slowly let that go, coming down. And we'll try that action a couple of times. Reach the elbows rather, towards the hip to draw the shoulder blades down. And then slowly release. Give yourself one or two more cycles here. Pull the elbows towards your toes. Feel how that affects the middle part of the back. And then slowly come back up. And as you finish, taking all the time you need to get there, make a little pillow with your hands or turn to one cheek. Take a moment just to rest. As you rest, bend your knees. Thighs will be down on the mat, feet will be up in the air. And just very gently sway your legs a little bit from side to side. After that movement in the upper body, a little bit of movement more actively down into the lower body. And then bringing that movement back to stillness. As you feel ready, letting your feet come back down onto the mat, bring yourself into child's pose. As you come to child's, take your knees a little wide. And as you sit your hips back towards your heels, let your chest, let your belly soften down towards the mat. And if your forehead doesn't reach down towards the mat, bring a block or two fists underneath your forehead so you can really let the weight of your head rest down into something. Take a couple of breaths here, lengthening through your back. If you can feel how the back body in this position is supported, have a little extra length. So we're going to try to support that length a little more actively by getting the tops of the thighs moving back towards the heels. When you're ready, without drawing your legs closer towards one another, so imagining maybe a beach ball or a big block between your knees, hug in with the lower legs. You should feel your hips lift up a little bit as you do this, and your inner thighs get active. And use that to reach your sitting bones back and apart. See if you can reach your sitting bones towards your heels. So we're trying to hug the lower legs in and use that to take the upper inner thighs and the sitting bones apart to draw the tops of the thighs back towards the heels. As you do that, see if you can press your toenails down into the mat, letting your heels reach towards your sitting bones so that you're really getting clear on how the ankles, the knees, and the hips connect. Now, bring your attention up through your spine. See if you can lengthen to the top of your head while keeping all this work with the legs. Now you're extending your spine as well as connecting through the legs. Finally, press your hands down into the mat and see if you can lift the bones of your arms and especially your armpits up towards the sky. And feel how your shoulder blades now move more deeply onto the back. When you're ready, make your way up into a tabletop position and we'll come from there into downward facing dog. And we're going to try to find that same action for the legs and the shoulders. So as you travel through table, when you're ready, tuck your toes. And as you take your hips up, bend a little at the knees, just like you were doing when you were in child's pose. Let's see if you can find those same connections. Reach the heels and the sitting bones towards one another. Hug in with the lower legs. See if you can take the upper inner thighs and sitting bones back and apart, and let that help you to take the tops of the thighs back so there's a really clean fold right at the hip crease. Let that help you to get long through the low back and deeply connected to your center. And then adding in that same work with the upper body, press your hands firmly down into the mat, lift up through the bones of the arms, and see if you can take your armpits up towards the sky. As you lift up through the armpits, take a moment to gently lift your head. Should feel no tension at the back of the neck. If you do, see if you can lift your shoulders a little higher until you don't feel any tension at the back of the neck as you move your head. And then keeping this action, thighs back, armpits lifting, come forward to plank. And then shift yourself back, downward facing dog. See if you can reach back from the tops of the thighs and keep the armpits rising skyward. One more time, glide forward to plank. And shift back, downward facing dog. One final time, come forward to plank. And back to downward facing dog. Then lower your knees down onto the mat. Come back to tabletop position. We're going to take 2 more movements here in tabletop before we start to move through our sun salutations. First is opening for the shoulders. So when you're ready, bring your forearms down. Not interlace, bring your palms together, elbows underneath your shoulders, like you are making a prayer position with your hands. You may need to walk your knees back a little bit, but keeping the armpits lifted, palms together, start to let your forehead come down towards the mat. Again, if your forehead doesn't touch down, put a block underneath your forehead. See if you can lift up through the armpits and soften at the space between your shoulder blades. So we're going to add on some variations here. Stick with whatever variation feels good to you. So that might mean staying here. Or if you'd like to explore, keep the palms together, elbows down, and bring your prayer hands back behind your head. As you bring your hands back, press your elbows down into the mat to keep the armpits rising up and melt the space at the back of your heart. Adding on a little more if you'd like, keep your fingertips together, but take your palms apart like you are holding a ball cupped in the palms of your hands. Let that help you to lift the inner shoulders and wrap the outer arms around towards the back. Whichever variation is yours in this moment, we'll be here a couple of breaths. See if you can keep the armpits light, tops of the thighs reaching way back. Now let's start to release the hands back and down. And as you're ready, bring yourself back to tabletop position. And then moving through a couple cycles of cat and cow, let your tail reach down towards the mat and let that wave roll up through the spine. Just as you were doing when you were rounding and arching the back. Pause here. See if you can soften even more in the back. Let the back get really long, noticing how things contract and close in the front body to support that. And then slowly let that go. And as you're ready and come into cow, hug in with the lower legs. Take the upper inner thighs back and apart. See if you can tip your pelvis first. And then let the spine follow. And here, as you come to the top, let your shoulders come towards your ears and towards the sky, and releasing through the serratus, that muscle we played with at the side body. When you're ready, release from the back to come back to neutral. Give yourself one more cycle in each direction. As you round your back up towards the sky, push a little with your hands. Feel the shoulder blades broaden off of the back, contracting through that side rib space. And then as you release your way into cow, let the pelvis move, let the spine soften, and let the shoulder blades glide towards one another on the back. Release yourself back to neutral. We'll go side to side. Throw the right hip up, right shoulder down. Take a breath here into that left side. See if you can release and soften there. And then let go of the contraction on the right to come back up. Draw the left shoulder down, left hip up. Again, see if you can let go from the right side. And then soften out of that contraction on the left, coming back to neutral. One more time in each direction here. Draw the right hip up, right shoulder down. See if you can feel each of those spaces on the right side close. And then slowly let that go. Last time on the left shoulder draws down, left hip draws up, closing that left side, releasing from the right side. And then slowly ease back up. And then tucking your toes, make your way back to downward facing dog. And tops of the thighs go way back. Heels and sitting bones reach towards one another. Lower legs hug in so that the upper inner thighs can move back and apart. Get lift for your armpits, moving the shoulder blades on your back. This time as you come forward, we'll come down onto the mat. So find your way into plank, and however you like, come back down. Once you come all the way down, take whatever arm position you like for your cobras. Palms by the sides, arms long beside you, whatever is working best in your practice. And synchronize with your breath. Breathe into your belly, let it press down. Feel your back arch with that action. And then once your mind has wrapped itself around that letting go in the front body, contracting in the low back, then start to build it into a bigger back bend if you'd like. As the belly presses down, draw that contraction up through the back, lifting the shoulders, arching yourself up away from the mat, maybe lifting the legs if that feels good. And then ease your way back down as you're ready. As always, we'll aim to take 3 cycles. Again, let your mind be really focused on what's letting go and what's steadying, what's engaging to move in this way into a back bend and then back out of it. Give yourself a 3rd cycle if you haven't already. And as you're ready, make your way into downward facing dog, and we'll all meet up there. Again, as you find your dog, first, tops of the thighs go back, armpits go skyward. And then refine, check in with the inner hands. Are the first finger knuckle and the thumb knuckle pressing down? If they aren't, root them into the mat. And then find the opposite spiral. As the inner hands press down, the outer arms wrap around towards the back so that your elbows are starting to point more towards your toes. Similar thing happens in the legs. Lower legs hug in so the upper inner thighs can move back and apart. Let that help you to reach back through the tops of the thighs. And then reach from the outer hips. See if you can extend even further back, starting maybe to let the legs work a little bit towards straight. We're going to be here 2 more breaths. Just holding. Feel free to walk in place if you need a little movement in your dog. And then as you're ready, start to bring your feet up to the top of the mat, coming into a forward fold. As you fold down in it, letting your hands connect onto something, the floor, your shins, your knees, we're going to walk the legs in place a little bit more. Let one knee bend, let the other leg straighten, and focus on keeping the corners of the feet grounded down. Center the heel, little toe, big toe, root to the floor. Keeping that connection, bend into the opposite knee, letting the first leg straighten. Give yourself a couple of cycles going back and forth. Let the upper body move. Let your body start, or your mind rather, start to get used to the sensation of lengthening in the back of the legs and the outer hips. It's going back and forth a little bit. And then coming back to center. As you're ready, take your hands to your knees with your inhale. Lengthen forward, let the shoulders rise up onto the back. And releasing from the back body, lower yourself back into. 2 more times as you inhale, extend. And as you exhale, fold. One last time here. As you extend, see if you can take the heels and the tops of the thighs back. And then keep them back as you fold. Take your hands to your hips. Engage a little with the upper back so the collarbones are broad. And press into your feet to come back up to stand. Releasing your hands by your sides, moving with your breath. As you exhale, rotate the palms so that they face back. Let the
Whole arm rotate just as we did on the floor until you've rounded yourself forward, feeling the ribs move way back. And then as you breathe in, release. Breathe yourself back up to stand tall. With your next exhale, rotate the whole arms, feel the shoulder blades pull back and down. Let that bring you into a standing back bend. And then breathe into the back to come back to stand. Give yourself 2 more cycles here. Rotating the arms, letting that connect through the inner arms all the way into the front body as you let your breath out. And then breathe that space open as you rise back up. In the back body, feel the outer arms connect to the shoulder blades, to the arch of the back. And then release yourself back to stand tall. Give yourself 1 more cycle here. And then with your next cycle, start to make it a half sun salutation. So half sun salutation basically weaves those actions together. As you exhale and round forward, feel the ribs go back. Now start by releasing through your belly. Lengthen down through the low belly to take the tops of the thighs back so your hips are underneath your ribs. And then keeping those 2, come up along your back body, releasing through your chest until your shoulders come over the ribs. Then turn the palms out and pressing your feet down, take the arms up towards the sky. As you exhale, let your hands come down through center. See if you can keep the connection between those 3 integration points, hips, ribs, and shoulders as you bow forward. As you inhale and lengthen, keep a little connection at the ribs so that you can align the shoulders, the hips, and the center. And then come back down into your forward fold. Take your hands to your hips, come up to stand. Release your arms as you're ready. Exhale and spiral forwards. Keep the ribs back, lengthen down through the low body, back through the heels and the tops of the thighs, up through the upper back, broadening the collarbones so that all sides of the body are long. And then take the arms up as you reach your legs down. As you exhale, hands come down through center. Reach back through the hips and heels so that the legs stay active as you fold. Take your hands to your knees, extend long. And then bring your hands down. Walk your feet back, downward facing dog. Again, find those actions. Draw the tops of the thighs, the outer hips way back, and lift your armpits up to the sky. Come forward to plank. Keep reaching back through the legs as you come down onto them. Taking a second cycle of cobra, again, placing the hands however you would like, by your sides, long, whatever is working for you. Again, work with your breath. Breathe the belly down. Let that help you to engage with the back as you release through the front body. And then lower yourself with control, coming back down to the mat. Again, we'll take 3 cycles. And as you finish, give yourself a moment just to rest. When you're ready, tuck your toes, make your way back, downward facing dog. Once you found your down dog, take your right leg up towards the sky. Bend your knee here, hug in with the legs so you can take your sitting bones back and apart, and focus on the tops of the thighs. Get the tops of both thighs back as much as you can. Now, keeping that, turn your hips open. Let the focus be on the tops of the thighs. Keep those spaces anchored back. Maybe you take that top foot a little further back if you need a little more intensity. And then see if you can start to extend the leg without losing that sense of softness at the front of the thigh. Give yourself a breath or 2 here. And then release that foot back and down. Going the other way, take the left leg up. Again, knee will stay bent. Hug in with the legs. Take the upper inner thighs back and apart. Again, see if you can ground the tops of the thighs way back. Then keep that as you turn the hips open so that you're not pressing the thigh bones forward. Maybe move the lifted foot further back. Again, that's how things get more intense. And then see if you can extend the leg without pressing the thigh forward. Reach from your center. And then release that foot back down. And as you're ready, step your right foot forward. And as you find your lunge, hug in with your legs, scissor enough that you feel your hips rise up, and into that space, take the tops of the thighs way back, particularly on the right. That right hip needs a little extra help to stay grounded. And then as you're ready, start to rise up. As you rise, see if you can keep the tops of both thighs back. It can help to reach with the heels and forward through the space below the knee to really pay attention to the articulation of the legs and the body. And then on top of that steady foundation, take the arms up, keeping the legs super steady. So your hands come down to center, add a twist when you're ready. Could be the elbow, could be the hand that comes across, but keep taking the tops of both thighs way back. Think about lengthening your spine to rotate. Reach back through your tail, long through the top of your head, and then engage with your core to lift your heart towards your thumbs. We'll be here a couple of breaths. Do anything you like with the arms. And start to gently release. And as you're ready, switch. Again, hug in with the legs. As you scissor, lift the hips and take the tops of the thighs back. See if you can find the place where the left hip and the right hip square more fully towards the front of the mat. Keep the left hip back, right leg strong as you start to rise up. Again, heels and tops of the thighs reach back, space below the kneecaps reaches forward, and then take the arms to the sky as you strongly connect your feet down towards the ground. Staying super steady with the legs grounded at the hips, start to add the twist. And again, think about lengthening your spine to go deeper. Reach back through an imaginary tail, out through the top of your head, and then use the strength of your center to rotate. Rather than levering with the elbow, engage from your belly. And we'll be here a couple of breaths. Then release your hands down. Step back to down dog. We're going to take the right foot forward and the left knee down onto the mat. Again, as always, when the knee's down, if it likes a little extra softness, feel free to give an extra layer of the mat or to slide something underneath it. And then bringing your hands to the front thigh or to your hips, come up to vertical with the upper body. Just as we did in the lunge, scissor your legs. See if you can get the tops of the thighs to move back, particularly on the right side. Right hand's going to stay on the knee. Left arm is going to reach up towards the sky. Imagine you had a block to the inside edge of this left hand. Hug the left hand in. See if you can broaden by taking your ribs back and widening across your back so that you feel more deeply connected at the front of the spine rather than hard in your belly. Once you've extended up, we're going to take a twist. We're going to take the left elbow across towards the outer edge of the right knee. As you come across, you have a bunch of options. You can keep the elbow there and bring the palms together in prayer, or you can slide the right hand back towards the right hip, and you can start to fold the left palm towards your right thigh. Bringing the forearm parallel to the thigh makes a deeper stretch in the shoulders. Give yourself a couple of breaths. If you'd like a challenge, you can try to take the back knee up away from the mat, loading it up. If you lifted the knee, let it come back down. And then gently unwind, coming back to center. And switch sides. And right knee's going to come down onto the mat. Scissor with the legs as you're ready. Start to take your upper body up to vertical and see if you can find that connection between the heels and the sitting bones so there's a softness at the front of the thigh. Left hand stays on the thigh, right arm reaches up. And hug the right palm in, see if you can broaden into your back so that the ribs stay back and you bring some support deep through the center of your body. And then keeping that length, start to invite that right elbow across towards the outer edge of the left knee. Again, you can come towards a prayer position. You can slide that left hand back to the hip. Start to bring that right forearm parallel to the thigh. Keep the shoulders really steady. If you'd like to play with taking that right knee up, see if you can keep the hips back, lifting from the strength of the legs to take the knee up away from the mat. Totally optional. And then if you lifted the knee, let it come back down. And then releasing, make your way back to the right side. So as you come to the right, we're going to bring the left heel down now, setting up for Parsvakonasana. Hug in with the legs, take the tops of the thighs back. And then when you're ready, bring your right forearm up onto your right thigh. Left arm's going to move towards the sky. See if you can turn from the upper arm, accessing that movement of the shoulder blade, and let the arm reach out overhead, allowing this movement of the shoulder blade to allow the arm to extend freely. Give yourself a breath or two here, rooting the outer edge of that back foot down into the mat. When you're ready, take the left arm back up. We're going to come into triangle, pressing up with the right thigh, reaching back through the right hip. Start to extend that right leg. Again, as you straighten, focus on the tops of the thighs. The knees can stay a little bent so that there's a lot of support there. And let that right arm extend down. Left arm extend up towards the sky. If that's not comfortable, let your hand come back behind you so that you're not straining at the shoulder. We'll finish by taking a couple of breaths in half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. So as you're ready, let that left hand come down on the hip, turn your gaze towards the floor. And as you're ready, start to shift yourself forward. You want to make sure the right hand comes forward of the little toe by maybe 15 centimeters or so, letting that left leg lift up. As you lift the leg, be strong with that outer thigh. Lift that leg up as you take your heart and chest forward. Maybe you take the top arm up towards the sky. We'll be here a couple of breaths. Maybe you bend the knee and catch the foot. And then gently release. Lowering that lifted leg back down. Make your way all the way back to down dog. Got one final side. As your left foot comes forward, right heel pivots back and down. Again, bring the forearm up onto your thigh. Hugging with the legs, get the tops of the thighs rooted back so that you can extend long through your spine. Right arm will lift. Again, rotate the whole arm as best you can and let the shoulder blade move on your back. Notice how extending the arm and releasing through the back body are deeply connected with one another. We'll be here a couple of breaths. And take the top arm up, pressing up with the left thigh, back through the left hip. Start to straighten the leg by shifting the hips back and making sure there's support at the knee. Reaching the left hand down, right arm skyward, whatever way supports your shoulders. And then finishing with half moon, let that top hand release down and turning your gaze towards the mat, shifting yourself forward, coming into the standing balance. Spread the toes here on that lifted leg. Let that leg be connected so that it feels light and powerful. And as you like, take the top arm skyward. Maybe bend the lifted leg, catching the foot, taking the Tapasana variation. And we'll be here for a couple of breaths. And then start to gently release. Lower that lifted leg back down. And step yourself back to downward facing dog. From down dog, we'll come either into pigeon, thread the needle, or the standing version of those poses, bringing the ankle onto the knee. So choose one of those three. And then as you're ready, bring the right ankle to the left knee if you're standing or coming in to thread the needle, or the right shin forward if you're coming into pigeon. For all variations, get super active with your feet and your ankles. See if you can flex the foot, and especially if your ankle is to the knee, reach out through the base of the big toe so that the inner ankle is smooth. And then start to make your way in deeper, sitting the hips back if you're standing, inviting that left knee in towards you if you're in thread the needle, or lowering your forearms down towards the mat if you're taking pigeon. Can work from the hug of the lower legs in to take the inner thighs and the sitting bones apart and towards the mat so that you're, again, softening at the front of the thighs and anchoring the legs deep in the hip socket. And let that give support and integrity from the inside to help release the muscles in the outer hip. We'll be here a couple of breaths. Please add any variations you might like. Bringing yourself back to center, releasing from that side. When you're ready, either take the left shin forward or bring the left ankle onto the right knee. Again, get super steady first. As you flex the feet, particularly if you're in an ankle to the knee variation, reach out through the base of the big toe. If you're in pigeon, sometimes that's clicking the toes down into the floor to really stabilize and interconnect from the ankle up to the knee. We want this work in this pose to be in understanding how to let go from the outer hip. Often our minds go around the outer hip, move from the knee or the ankle. That's why we want to keep those spaces so steady. Lower legs hug in here. Upper inner thighs move back and apart for all variations. And then if you have additional pieces you like to add in, rocking the legs and thread the needle, rotating in pigeon, bringing the hands to the floor if you're standing, please add in any variations you'd like. Giving yourself a last breath here to bring yourself back into center. And as you're ready, release your feet back down onto the mat. Making your way back into a tabletop position, come back to your hands and knees. And as you're ready, take your right foot forward. We're going to come towards lizard. So once you've got the right foot forward, bring both hands to the inside of that right leg. Hug in with the right knee, reach that right hip back so that you feel your hips rise up and get steady. And then coming up onto your fingertips, start to walk forward with your hands as you continue to root back through your hips. So there's a sense of length through and along your spine. We're going to take a couple breaths here. And then when you're ready, tuck the toes under in the back knee and keeping your hips low, take that back knee up away from the mat. From here, we're going to add an inner thigh stretch, adjusting the position of the hands if you need to, maybe walking them in closer. Start to rotate that back foot so that the heel comes down. And then take your upper body around towards the left side of the mat a little bit. Make sure your knee stays pointing forward and keep your hips low. Reach back through the tops of the thighs, taking the sitting bones apart and extend out through your arms. And let's see if you can lengthen through that left leg. Press the foot out into the floor as if you were going to reach it down into the center of the earth. Give yourself a breath or two here. Start to walk back around to the front of the mat, pivoting on those back toes to let the left knee come down, and of course, switching sides. Left foot's going to come forward. Again, we'll start with a knee down lizard pose. Hands will come to the inside of the left foot. Hug the left knee in, reach the left hip back again, get plugged in at the legs. And then come up to your fingertips and keeping the hips reaching back, start to come forward. As you come forward, of course, you're bowing towards the inside edge of the left leg. That tends to be what makes things juicy and intense for the outer hips. Finding a place that's comfortable for you. Okay, we'll take a couple of breaths here. And when you're ready, tucking the back toes,
Take the knee up, keeping the hips low if you can. And then moving into the inner thigh stretch, rotate the back foot. Keep that left knee aiming forward as you take the upper body around, so that you're moving your upper body away from that steady front leg. And with the hips low, reach back through your hips and extend out through that right leg. Again, so you can reach your foot through the floor towards the center of the earth. And start to gently release. Make your way back around towards the front again. And we'll come down onto our backs. So come down onto the floor. Give yourself a moment or two just to enjoy its support. Find your breath again. If there are any places that are holding, let them soften into that support. And when you're ready, begin to set yourself up for bridge. Make sure you've got your ankles close to your hips. Generally, ankles under the knees, feet hip-width distance apart and parallel is the most comfortable, but make adjustments as you need to make sure your back feels good as you come into the back bend. And then bring your elbows alongside your ribs, point your fingertips up towards the sky. And building the back bend by connecting up the pieces of the back body, root the elbows down. Then start to press the backs of the arms and then the shoulders down. And as you move piece by piece, breathe into the front body. Make sure you're letting go from the front body as you engage with the back body. Shoulder blades will start to draw towards one another. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. Let your pelvis rock towards your toes, reaching your heels and sitting bones towards one another. And give yourself a breath or two, making sure you really softened from the front body so that you aren't contracting in both the front and the back. And then when you're ready, keeping the tops of the thighs a little soft, start to lift the hips up. So you're taking this arch and moving it up towards the sky. As you start to come up, keep reaching your heels and your sitting bones into one another. Take any arm position you like, staying with robot arms, bringing your hands back behind your hips, reaching for your ankle. We'll be here a couple of breaths. And start to gently come back down again. A moment just to pause. We're going to take one more somatics movement before we take a final back bend. So when you're ready, roll yourself over onto your right side. And before you roll yourself over onto your right side, make sure you have the space to open your arms all the way out to the sides like a T. I know I had to move myself a little bit away from the wall to be able to get to that place. And then come onto your right side. So as you're resting on your right, let the legs be in any position that's comfortable for you. And our focus is going to be on moving through the arms and the upper back. When you're ready, start to reach your left hand forward of the right one. So it's going to stack your palms on top of one another first with your arms reaching straight out in front of you. And then start to slide your left arm forward till your palm maybe comes down onto the floor, maybe not. You should be rolling your chest towards the mat a little bit. And then glide your left hand back until your fingers have aligned again. So we're going to try just that action a couple of times. Glide the left arm forward, you'll rock towards the mat. And then draw the left arm back, reopening your chest. One more time here. Glide the left hand forward. And this time, as you draw back, trace a little further up the right arm. Maybe trace with your left hand to just below your elbow, so you're turning your chest open a little more. And then glide the left arm back out again. Maybe it reaches off of that right hand. And then this next time, as you trace along the right arm, come up a little further. Maybe you come as far as the elbow, letting your chest rock back a little further. And then draw yourself back around, trace back out with the left arm until the left hand maybe slides off the right. And this time, trace along your right arm as far as your shoulder. Turning open a little further. Reach back out with the left arm. Come back to the place where your chest is turning towards the floor. This time, we're going to take the left hand across the chest, and it's going to come all the way out like a T. Now, to come back around onto the right side, we're going to add another piece. Keeping the left hand down on the mat, start to draw a giant circle overhead. So the hand's going to trace on the floor. It's going to reach way out towards the top of the mat. And as you draw this circle, let it bring you all the way back around onto the right side. So you come back to the starting position with the palms stacked on top of one another. And we'll try that action a couple of times. With the left arm, trace along the right arm. Let that spiral your chest open towards the sky. Let the left arm come out like a T in whatever way is comfortable for you. And then to come back onto the right, reach with the left arm. It's going to draw a giant circle. Let it reach overhead like you were drawing with your fingernails on the floor. Come all the way back around until you're resting on the right side again. Give yourself one more cycle and trace along that right arm. Come across your chest, all the way out with the left arm. And then reach with the arm. Draw a giant half circle on the floor. Feel what you engage to come back around, moving slow, bringing the hands all the way back to rest. And take a moment just to breathe. And then when you're ready, we'll switch to the other side. So go ahead and bring yourself onto your left side. Again, as you set yourself on the left, let the right palm stack on top of the left. You could always put a pillow underneath your head if you had any discomfort in your shoulders or your neck. And we'll start just by letting the right palm slide forward to the left. So let that right arm reach forward, turning your chest a little towards the mat, and then draw that right hand back. We'll try just that action a couple of times. Let the arm reach forward, and then gently come back. One more time. This time, once you've reached forward, trace a little bit more up the right arm, coming maybe to the space just before your elbow. And then as you glide back out, and reach back out with the right arm. And this time, as you trace back, come a little further up than your elbow, opening a little more towards the sky. Reach back out with the right arm. And then when you're ready, trace a little further, come towards the shoulder. And then as you're ready, come back around. Give yourself a cycle now where you come all the way across your chest, letting that right arm extend all the way out towards the side. Pause for a moment as you come into this twist, and then reaching with that right arm, draw that giant circle. The arm's going to reach out, it's going to extend overhead, and reach with the arm to bring yourself back around onto the left side again. So we'll take that action 2 more times. Start to trace along your arm, across your chest, releasing the right arm out long. And then reach with the right arm along the floor. So if you were drawing with your fingernails, and let that reach easily bring you back around onto the left side. Give yourself one more cycle playing with this spiraling action in the upper body. Slowly releasing yourself into the twist, extending the arm, and then reaching with the right arm, coming back around over onto the left side. Take a moment just to rest. And then as you're ready, come onto your back. We'll take one more back bend here of any variation that you like, starting with the elbows alongside the ribs, placing the feet the way that you know supports your back bend. Start from the elbows, add the backs of the arms and the shoulders. Notice whether it's a little easier to connect into the back body after that work. Shoulder blades move towards one another and down the back. Let your pelvis tip. Again, first create the shape of the back bend. And then when you're ready, start to lift your hips. As you rise up, check in with how it feels to come into the back bend after doing that release work. Again, staying with robot arms, interlacing the hands, whatever feels good to you. Reach forward through the space below your knees. Move your chin towards your chest. move your chest towards your chin and your chin a little bit away from your chest so that you're not compressing the back of the neck. Give yourself a couple of breaths here. And then slowly come back down. Once you've taken a moment to settle, start to invite your knees in. Bring yourself into happy baby. Soles of the feet point up. Knees nestle down towards the armpits. Sitting bones ground down towards the mat. So, of course, the tension in this pose, or the dual action in this pose, is that the sitting bones are coming down as the knees are coming towards your armpits. So play with those two opposite actions and see if you can find a place where the tops of the thighs are moving back and where you feel like you can lengthen through your spine. We'll be here a couple of breaths. Let's start to gently release. We're going to finish with a twist. Either take your favorite twist or extend the left leg out long, tuck the right toes back behind it, and use the left hand to guide the right knee across and over towards the left. Root down a little into that bottom hip. Let the shoulder be heavy on the right side, allowing the right hip, the side body, the belly, the back, a chance to release as you spiral. And start to unwind back to center. And we'll take the final side of the twist. Right leg will extend, left toes will tuck underneath, or of course, if you took a different twist, taking the same twist towards the second side. And guide that left knee across and over towards the right. You can see if you can allow and soften through that whole expanding left side, supporting that by rooting the right hip down, by breathing into the side body, by consciously focusing on letting go and softening through those spaces. Let the knee rise back up. And we'll make our way onto our backs for Shavasana. So as always, if there are final movements that your body might be calling out for, please feel free to take them. And as you make your way down into a comfortable position on your mat, give yourself a couple of cleansing breaths. Breathe in through your nose. And like a little sigh gently out through your mouth, letting go. Give yourself a couple of cycles just like that. See if you can allow each exhale to be an opportunity to let the outer fabric of your body soften and melt a little more deeply into the support of the earth underneath you. And notice how as you release the weight of your body into the earth sends back energy into the center spaces. Let each inhale help those spaces to feel supported, to expand. So that as the outer body softens, the inner body rises and expands to meet it. very, very sweetly start to deepen your breathing. Let that bring you back up towards the surface. Bring a little gentle movement back into your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes. And as you feel ready, let that expand in any way that feels right, moving from the inside back. And then bend your knees. Make your way over onto one side. And take all the time you need to make your way up to sit. Sitting in any way that feels good to you. As you find a comfortable seat, let your hands come together in front of your heart and bow your head in. Thank yourself for making time to practice. And then bring your thumbs to your third eye and bow forward to close your practice. Namaste.
Namaste.